Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SportsPoint. I'm your host, Frankie Breit, and we are so excited to be back here for another episode. Already in October. It's been a good ride so far. Let's keep it going. I'm joined by Brody Kupsky and Liam Statz. As per usual, how's it going today, guys?
As the day of recording this, it is Leif Erikson Day, so it's a great day. That was on my mind.
You killed Liam. He's trying to introduce the guy, but he can't even talk.
All right, sorry, professional. It's very cold outside. It went from 80 degrees like a week ago now.
Hence why I'm wearing
Where are the
sleeves.
Hawaiian shirts?
I'll still wear one.
Still wear one.
It's
It'll
cold.
still happen.
It is cold. I don't know. It's about 40 degrees today, 40 something.
Yeah, but it was also like 80 a week ago.
That's true.
So
I'm just happy I don't have to run an AC anymore. And I can
That's actually true.
I don't have to pay for AC anymore. I'm just riding with the windows open. It's been nice. But hey, season's a turning, which means we are about ready for some new sports coming around the corner. We'll talk about that here soon. But more than relevant that it is MLB playoff time and football season. So let's get right into today. Major sports storylines around the league. I mean, this one's the most recent. Last night, on Sunday Night Football, the 49ers absolutely dismantled the Cowboys, which is a team that has looked amazing through 4 weeks that I don't think anybody really wants to see.
Yeah.
They're deemed America's team, but not my America.
Self-proclaimed, by the way, self-proclaimed America.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, Dak throws 4 picks for the Cowboys.
Couldn't
Brock
be
Purdy
happier.
on the other side throws 4 touchdowns. I mean, can anybody stop that team?
Probably not.
No, I mean, their offense is fantastic. Their defense is rock solid. You can always count on them. I counted on them for fantasy, so God bless the 49ers defense and George Kittle. The San Francisco 49ers are a juggernaut right now. And if they just continue this success, I mean, who's to say they're not going to win the Super Bowl this
They're
year?
like there's 2 teams, right? I can't remember what the other one is. It's escaping my mind, right? But they're one of the few undefeated teams, right?
Eagles.
Eagles.
The
thank
other
you.
NFC juggernaut, which hasn't looked the same as last year.
No, but they're still.
And I know the Niners and Eagles play each other this season. I think the Niners look more dangerous than the Eagles do, for sure, on offense. Both defenses are pretty scary, but a couple weeks ago, the Eagles get into a nail-biter with the Commanders. So I don't think
the Commanders lost to the Bears.
So weird. We'll talk about that too, but this season has been so week to week. Everyone's kind of been all over the board, except for it feels like the 49ers, who have been dominant each and every week. Last season, you'd probably say a quarterback away from the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, and it's unfortunate Brock Purdy suffered the injury that he did, and then from there on out, it was like none of their quarterbacks could stay healthy, and the backup they throw in gets injured, and then that backup almost gets injured, and it's just that from that point on, it just didn't.
It was a mess.
It was.
It was an absolute mess for him. I hate the 49ers, so I didn't mind seeing that happen. Not that I ever like to see somebody hurt. I hate that. But I don't mind to see that team lose. But you mentioned Brody, 3 touchdowns on 3 receptions for George Kittle. On your fantasy team, I had Deebo Samuel, and I needed him to pop off 11 points.
Yeah, it wasn't much. I also had him on my fantasy team.
Brandon Ayuk only 9 points as well. So he was like the only guy who popped off for that offense, regardless of the victory.
You know what that sounds like, Frankie?
What's that?
Sounds like a big ol' L.
I'm losing. Okay, so I'm in 3rd place in one league, and I need Daniel Carlson to hit 4 field goals tonight to win my game.
Good chance. Not say it's out of the question.
He'll do it.
Let's go Packers defense. So as I just stated, today is Monday. The Packers play tonight. We're not going to talk about the Packers for the first half of the show. I'm going to come back into the studio tomorrow to talk about the Packers. It'll all look the same on the episode for you. I'll probably be wearing a different shirt, but it'll all be here in the episode.
You've got to keep the continuity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I should probably do that. But the show will be like all the good same thing for you, so don't worry. That was probably one of the more relevant games in the league, in the NFL yesterday. I want to get to something else in a second here, but one more game I want to look at in the NFL, the Patriots. Bill Belichick, what's going on? The Patriots lose 34-0 from the Saints. Who is that team?
I think that what's going on is they don't have a certain guy on their team anymore.
His name might be Thomas Brady.
I think it's Tom.
This might be Tom.
Some guy. It's Tom. Okay.
Some guy.
What number do you wear?
Bomb Trady, I think.
Bomb Trady.
Yeah, Bomb Trady.
Bomb Trady. That sounds familiar.
21.
21.
Something
I think
like
it
that.
was. They're missing Tom Brady, guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're
Well,
missing Tom Brady.
And
No question.
it's no coincidence that they, are dominant as far as they are. The second he leaves, all the way down.
But it has felt like the last couple seasons without him, they've at least been competitive. And that defense, I think, is still capable of being good. But okay, all right. This, like you're saying kind of here, this is a new rock bottom for Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Where do they go from here? You're 1-4 now?
Tank Bowl for Caleb Williams.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine?
I'm sure Caleb Williams would, declare for the draft if the Patriots are the first overall pick.
See ya, Mac Jones.
Mac Jones probably is not the future. I mean, he just looks terrible.
Yeah, I know. He's raised a lot of red flags for me personally, too. I heard on either CBS or Fox, they're talking about the game. The offensive scheme is so basic. You look at a team like the Eagles, you know exactly what they're going to do.
Philly special.
Yes, okay, whatever.
Probably shove.
Yeah, tush push, you name it. They know exactly what that team's going to do, but they have the superstars to be able to say, yeah, and what? Stop us. There's nobody on the Patriots who says, oh, shoot, we can't beat that guy. With the roster that they have, they need a more creative scheme, and Bill O'Brien is not doing it for that team. I've never liked Bill O'Brien. No offense to Bill O'Brien.
He's a hack.
Yeah, I agree. But back to Bill Belichick. Is his time up, do you think? He's getting up there age-wise, hasn't had a successful team in a few years, but this is really bad.
I can guarantee they're going to try to get him the most wins all time, and then after that, he's done.
How close is he? Do we know how close he is?
Probably, I want to say he's maybe 20 or 30 wins away, maybe. I'm guessing.
I mean, that's a couple more. That's like 3 more seasons.
Yeah, I mean, if he continues to run his team like this and they keep getting less and less wins, it'll really come down
He's
to
about
it.
17 wins away.
17 wins away. Okay, that could still be 2 or 3 seasons, depending on how good the team is the next couple of years.
Exactly.
Or 1 17-0 season away, next year if they don't win another game. But that's a good shout with them tanking in the draft and getting that quarterback. You never know. But yeah, that's mostly the wrap up here. The biggest thing that's happened in the NFL, besides the Bears all of a sudden having a superstar quarterback, Justin Fields is turning out to be everyone that people wanted him to be.
Because Dick Butkus passed away, they had to win that game.
We were going to talk about that. Dick Butkus, man.
Arrested Dick Butkus.
Legendary name, legendary player. So sad to see him go. And I had a question. The Packers offensive line coach is Luke Butkus. Is there a relation?
I believe that is his grandson. I could be wrong about
Grandson?
that. I want to say I remember that. Yeah, it's hard losing a guy as charismatic as Dick Butkus,
And of that caliber.
I mean,
Revolutionized the tight end position.
Exactly.
tight end.
Yeah, it was tight end.
Linebacker, dude.
Was it linebacker?
He's a linebacker. You're thinking Mike Ditka, who was a tight end
Mike Ditka,
back in the day.
Did we just do that again?
Yeah, we did just do that again.
I
Sorry.
trust Liam too much.
Well, I don't care about the Bears whatsoever. So,
That's also part of
the
it.
Bears still suck. What are they now? 1-4?
They won a game.
They won a game. You won your first game in a season and a half.
1-16.
Oof, da.
That's what I'm hoping.
Good chance. Good chance.
Good
they-
chance.
I mean, the run game was kind of more or less there. DJ Moore obviously popped off, and Justin Fields has a 158.3 rating when throwing to DJ Moore. So imagine that. You go trade the first overall pick for DJ Moore.
Wow, he utilized them too.
What?
Crazy. They also trade.
That's what it is.
away.
Chase Claypool gets traded. See you later, pal. Sends over to the Dolphins for, I think they traded wow.
For dirt, right? I'm pretty sure
It was like
Yeah.
a sixth-round pick.
It was such a bad trade, I couldn't even let you know what it was.
It was literally like dirt for more dirt. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it was
all anyone cared
Claypool and a
about it.
7th rounder for a 6th rounder, which I believe the Broncos did with Randy Gregory to the Niners too. And if
Yep.
Randy Gregory plays like we know who he is, the Niners front just got even more improved. They have like all-stars, three steps deep into the depth chart on that pass rush. Like that's
scary.
unbeatable, and they've proven it for years now that you can't beat that. But yeah, we'll see. The Bears, I mean, good luck. I love to see your guys doing well, but we know how it goes. We know how your seasons go each year. If you crawl out of this hole, I'll give you a round of applause, but if not, you're done. Moving on from the NFL, let's talk about something going on that has the nation buzzing. the MLB playoffs, and this is here coming from our Brewers guru, an update for you. A very sad Brewers guru. Brody, please talk to me about the Brewers.
Brewers baseball, they played in the playoffs. They had the wild card games, I should say, against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are the 6th seed. Let's just say the Brewers did not win 2 games to advance to the NLDS, where they would have played the Dodgers. The Diamondbacks ended up doing that because the Brewers get, in total, between 2 games, 19 runners left on base. That is a lot. And it's a problem with it. It's like, then what do we spend the money on to get these players if they can't hit when we need it most?
Are we playing baseball?
I have a very bad stat for both of you. Ready for this?
Yeah.
The Brewers won the same amount of playoff games this year as the Cubs.
It's fair.
When you put that into perspective, that's an issue. But you leave 19 guys on base, you can't bring them home. I mean, they were leading in that second game, too.
I mean, a credit to Arizona. They're scrappy, they're young, and they're gonna be good pretty soon. Right now, I mean,
They're stupid.
They look good in the playoffs right now, though. Which gets to my next point. The Arizona Diamondbacks beat the Dodgers 11-2 in the first game and knocked Kershaw pretty much out of the game right away.
That's bad.
Clayton Kershaw gives up like 9 runs without recording an out. Terrible in the playoffs. Great, fantastic pitcher, Hall of Famer, but is terrible in the playoffs for some reason.
Now, is that a 3-game series again, or?
I believe it is 5 games.
5 now.
I could be wrong.
All right.
I'm pretty sure it's 5. It should be 5, right?
Yeah, it's 5.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
3,
games.
5, 7. Right?
It's so weird. Like, even the season in the NBA or the MLB compared to the NFL, if you lose a game, it's like, all right, on to the next one. NFL, you only have 17. And, that's why it feels way heavier when a team loses. So, what else is going on there in the brackets? Brody Kupsky.
So right now, after a ton of teams won, the Rangers advanced to beat the Rays. The Rays did not score a run at all, despite being really good this season. So, haha, Rays. The Twins beat the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, my second favorite team, heartbreaking because, oh man, this season was kind of a roller coaster. But Twins finally make it past. They actually won a game finally in the postseason first time since 2002. I wasn't even born yet.
What year were you born?
2003.
That's you too? Oh my, I'm the oldest one here? That never happens. I have a summer birthday. I'm always the youngest one. You heard it here first, folks.
Yes.
I have an accomplishment. I did something.
Congrats.
Besides growing wonderful mustache that I was.
Yeah,
very
what
excited.
mustache, Liam?
Anyways.
Hey, Mom, I'm on TV.
Anyways, the Twins make it past and they play the Astros. The Rangers play the Orioles. Rangers look really good against the Orioles, who are kind of young, so they're inexperienced in the playoffs. Twins, meanwhile, 1-1, lost 1 against Houston. In the NL side, the Phillies advanced past the Marlins, which, was captivated with a Bryson Stott grand slam to pretty much end Marlins' hopes. They beat the Braves in their first game of the series, 3-0, and they play Monday night. By the time this is out, they'll either won or lost, who knows. And the Diamondbacks, like I said before, beat the Dodgers. They also play tonight. So, a lot of things are happening in the MLB playoffs. Personally, myself, since for some reason every team that beats the Brewers in the playoffs ends up in the World Series, either winning it or losing it. I have a good feeling the Diamondbacks could make it.
Pain, just a little bit.
Yeah, I guess it does, because then you're kind of, backed by the fact that, that team was meant to go there.
Exactly. So if the Diamondbacks, I should say, do make the World Series, I will be for sure cheering them on. I am honestly cheering them on right now. I do love their young core. I do love what they bring to the table. I love Corbin Carroll because he carried my fantasy team for many months. Love the guy.
Yeah, because you can't cheer for the Blue Jays anymore, can you?
Yeah, I cannot.
We talked about that. Yeah,
we don't
they're
talk
gone.
about that anyways.
Dude, I mean, I was, oh my gosh, I'm eating the mic. I was obviously very optimistic. I shaved my mustache for this team.
That's what
They debated me, more or less. They caught me caught up in my wording, and I lost my precious face. Now I look like a little boy. But to be this at this point in the playoffs, and you clutch and come in with like these titles that look so good, and like, all right, let's make a run, World Series bound. Yeah.
built for October.
And it's gone. Just like that, it's gone.
It's just Corbin Burns pitched solid right away and then just kind of let it away, which
He always does.
it just tends to happen.
I'm sorry. It's true, though. Every single time we've needed him to be that guy in that moment, he just does not do it. I mean, we were up 3-0, and he lets one on base. That's fine. You're 2 outs. That's okay. Just get a strikeout or put one into play so they can get a force out.
Yeah.
Okay, you let up a home run. That's fine. We're still up by a run. Just put this next guy out and let's get out of this inning. Oh no.
Oh, sure.
We're gonna
Tell
lose this
Marte home run tie game, and that pretty much ended
That
their
did it,
hope
yeah.
because
Yeah.
they just can't seem to score when they get guys on base.
We'll be fighting our demons for the offseason yet again. Brody, where does the team go from here?
So a lot of things might be happening. They got a lot of guys that got to kind of re-sign with arbitration. And they're also possibly, a lot of teams are looking to trade for Corbin Burns and Willie Adames, which it would hurt, but also if you can get a lot of trade value out of them, get a lot of good players out of them, maybe some young prospects, some, solid players in the MLB right now. Maybe they can make another run, but for right now they just gotta kind of reload in the off season. Wake up, maybe get some of those young prospects up like Jackson Chourio or stud pitcher, which I've seen in person, Jacob Mizorowski. They could possibly load up in the off season with veterans that lead the team, or maybe some other young guys that are, looking for fresh starts. So
Yeah. I mean, there's nowhere else to go but forward. That's one of the toughest things that I face as a fan after a season ends in any way, heartbreaking or not. You got to move on. Obviously, that sucked. Did we leave a lot on the plate? Yeah, we might have.
Yeah, but a lot.
A lot. Okay, we did not come back for seconds. The first plate was never finished. Not me at Thanksgiving. I mean, I can't wait for Thanksgiving. Off topic. But whether it's the Packers, it's the Brewers, it's the Bucks, you're always looking for new hope. I think the Bucks gave us that this offseason already. I think the Packers did last offseason, kind of getting an infusion of youth. We'll see what the Brewers do. I'm excited for Wisconsin sports, and that's just the bottom line because Frankie Breit said so. All right, boys. That was cringe. Let's move on. Anyway,
Let's just get away from that.
a little Stone Cold reference there for you. Let's talk about campus. The UWSP Pointers have dropped to 1-4 in this football season with another
Really?
loss.
No, come
You
on,
guys,
really?
come on.
Could've seen that
Trying to
coming.
do
I don't
something
know.
here.
I get it.
Negative Nellies. Come on, let's.
We're seasoned veterans of this.
They were just talking about this off camera. It's like this guy doesn't know yet.
He doesn't.
But his spirits are slowly breaking down. The Pointers lose to Platteville 51-10. Let's let that sink
Surprised
in.
it wasn't more.
Let's let that sink in. 51-10. And
It's the normal
off of
WAC
that,
score for
I
us.
recently saw on TikTok the video from a couple years ago, or recently, I don't know how long ago it was.
2 years.
2 years ago, yeah. Platteville taking a knee against lacrosse instead of spiking it. So, Platteville, you suck. Just remember that happened. 1-4 on the season. We rank bottom of the WIAC, 0-2 in the conference. What went wrong, guys? I think this is a very obvious answer. Before we jump into stats more detailed, we gave up over 620 offensive yards.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, that will.
Certainly do it. 325 yards for their quarterback that game.
Alone. And that was their starting quarterback.
And that makes up like basically all of their total passing yards.
The backup quarterback, 1 of 1, 71-yard touchdown.
Yep.
Way to hit us while we're down, Platteville.
I can't do it anymore, man.
Way to hit us while we're down. I mean, that's not even the worst of it. 225 rushing yards. They had a guy go over 120 yards. Like, we can't stop anything.
The defense did not come out to play.
That obviously is the biggest issue. But looking at more stats here, Jake Lear, 24 of 40 for 184 yards, touchdown and a pick. Charlie Smith did come into the game late through 3 passes, no completions.
At least you didn't get sacked.
Yay, no sacks on the day. Wonderful. Rushing game, the rushing side of the ball. Ooh, irrelevant, not present whatsoever. And receiving, there was a highlight. I want to highlight him later on. Myles Gallagher had a quiet game. Matt Getchen had his usual contribution. There was a superstar. Again, we're going to highlight him in a second. And then, defensively, we gave up way too much. And they did have one takeaway, but obviously too little too late. 51-10, that's your final score. Now, for the moment of optimism, we have something that is fun to talk about from that game. So last week, heartbreaking loss at home against Eau Claire. Jeremy Kobe had a big drop, had a touchdown in his grasp. It goes through his arms, and they lose that game. Had a shot at a Hail Mary, couldn't get down in bounds. We lose that game. Yep, we talked about that last week.
Heartbreaking.
But
Yes.
this is a great story. Bounce back, Jeremy Kobe, 8 receptions, 91 yards, and a touchdown. The guy balled out. And if he's the one guy on the team who balled out, he deserved it no more than anybody else. I mean, like, he earned that. He needed that. It's exactly right. What a confidence boost. How does that make you guys feel, like seeing a guy like that bounce back and say, I'm going to contribute to this team?
That's what the team needs. You need a bounce back game to bring that optimism back up. Yeah, you still lost by 40 points, but
Shut up.
Your team, you're one of your players who had a rough week last week, bounced back and had a better game and is feeling good about himself about that game, even if they still lost by a lot.
Yeah, so next week now you guys bounce back too. That's it. There you
exactly. And they're going to look to bounce back as they take on UW Stout. Okay, guys, take a deep breath. Deep breath, UW Stout. They're nobodies. Let's be real. I'm just kidding. Reese, don't be mad at me. Reese is Brody's brother, goes to Stout.
He's probably laughing at us right now. I know he is.
Yeah. So Stout, 2-3, coming off a loss from Oshkosh, 48-46. A very close game. 2 overtimes.
They were leading most of that game, too.
That's tough.
Choke. For the most part.
Choke.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Choke.
Like we can talk. We have nothing.
I still call it a choke anytime I get to do that over Stout.
All right. So Stout, 2-3, and all their losses have come in 1-score games. They almost came back. Was it lacrosse or
Lacrosse?
It was lacrosse. They almost came back and defeated. Obviously, they lost to Oshkosh. I think their only other loss was 24-21. Don't remember who they played.
Dickinson State University.
Thank you, sir.
North Dakota.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, they're essentially the 2023 Vikings. Last year they won all the 1-score games. Now this year they're losing all the 1-score games.
But they got one. They got one.
Right, and these are tough games that they're playing against tough teams, and they're taking it to them. So this is obviously a gritty team who won't give up to the very end. And I think that might have a lot of pointers fearful of this game, but I would like to come on the show and be an outlet and give people some shred of hope that we have a chance this week. Okay, you guys, I know you're down in the dumps. I know you've been
down in the dumps since 2021.
Let's just see something.
Yes.
How's that for hope, everybody?
Yep.
All right, how about this? If they
hang on, is this a bet?
This is not a bet.
Not a bet.
Okay,
Not a bet. Let's preface. I'm not losing anything.
Hold on. What would you be willing to bet?
Nothing.
Brody, you wanna do a little bet? You wanna do a little bet?
No.
What the heck?
So maybe if we do a bet here, it's like based on how much they lose by.
Well, I said if they get 14 points, that would be the thing. If they get 14 points, or they don't get 14 points.
Okay.
That's the 14.
See, look, I think they could possibly get 14 points because I looked at some stats. Stout gives up about 300 passing yards a game.
But so did Eau Claire.
And they didn't do much with that.
but they also
the
scored-
receivers were part of that problem.
Yeah.
They got, I'm not saying they're going to absolutely blow us out of the water because they're not doing that. But if they can try to keep it close, I'm not saying Stout is going to just, let up a ton of points. But, if the Pointers can kind of keep it close between Stout, I will be happy about that.
I think that's respectable. You're going up against a team who's very talented, has a lot of success so far this year, but you take it to them. That's something to be admirable about. So, Liam, I'm not betting you. I'm just going to go along with you, and we're going to together. I'm deciding this for you.
Okay.
The Pointers are putting up at least 14 points.
Yes.
They're going to. And Jeremy Colby's going to catch one, and you're going to frickin' run the ball effectively with Bryson Cashin. Keys to victory here, boys. Bryson Cashin's right on top of that one. You
Run the
gave
ball.
12 attempts for 9 yards. You got to figure out how to run the ball and make this team multi-dimensional.
It's almost like Aaron Jones and the Packers. Like, they don't run it with them.
Who, yet again, this is no spoiler, did not play, if you're watching this in whatever order this video, did not play in the Raiders game. We'll see how that turns out. I'll tell you later.
Our good buddy Mateo, which he's like, hey, who do I play tonight? Do I play Jaden Reed or do I play A.J. Dillon? And I'm like, Jaden Reed. Because A.J. Dillon is not
Regardless if Jones plays or did play, unless A.J. Dillon's going to make me eat my words in like 10 minutes later in this video.
I hope he does.
He's not the guy.
He's not.
He's not the guy.
Not right
he is
now.
a physical problem. There's that video of Vince Vaughn all over TikTok. You're a problem. I'm pointing right at A.J. Dillon. I am pointing at him. Sir, make me eat my words in 10 minutes. That would be insane. But keys to victory for the Pointers, you got to run the ball. Offensive line has to block better. Get Cashin in some space because 9 yards is not acceptable for that man.
That's what I was going to say is, like, do you think the part of the reason they can't get anything on the run game going is because they just have nobody up there on the O-line?
I think the offensive line definitely got a wake-up call this past week, who I thought they blocked really well against Eau Claire and have been decent so far this season, but they're going to have to be better against a team like Statz. So that's my thing for victory here. Brody or Liam, do you have one yourselves?
Just the defense has got to wake up. They looked really, really good against Eau Claire, when we were watching that game.
In the first half.
Yes, mind you, the first half. They just got to find that rhythm that they had against St. Norbert, keeping them in check. And like in the first half of Eau Claire game, just manhandling the offensive line, pressuring the quarterback a lot, not letting up big plays. That's a huge part of why they lose these games. Their backup quarterback comes in last week and throws a 71-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Letting up big plays is an absolute killer because it just kills all hope and optimism, which, this team already does. It just kills your momentum. It just kills everything that you stand for with the defense. So you just got to find that rhythm and just stay consistent, please.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. Like, in that St. Norbert game, they gave up a lot of points. They gave up a lot of yards, but they also had a lot of sacks. They had takeaways, and they were in that game throughout the entirety of it, quarter to quarter to quarter. They were in it. They were making plays regardless of the scoreline, and at the end of it, they did win that game for us. So they just got to stay present in the game. Don't get too far back. Keep going. Keep pushing. I'm right there with you. Liam, what do you got for keys to victory?
Confidence. I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier. As Jeremy Colby needs to get a little bit of his confidence back, which he seemed to do in that game. That goes for basically everybody on that team. Is they gotta just keep their confidence up. They gotta not listen to people like me or Brody. And
listen
they gotta,
to me.
They gotta listen to Frankie.
Listen to the Frankies in the world.
Listen to the Frankies in the world because
awesome.
he's gonna be there and he's gonna be with you every step of the way, and we are too to some degree. I know that we kind of like to talk about you guys' flaws, but we were confident in you guys, and no matter what, you'll always be our football team. So
Absolutely, Liam, you couldn't have said it any better. You guys, regardless, are putting blood, sweat, and tears into the program, into your games.
That's why we still talk about you guys.
That's why we still talk about you.
We care
know
enough.
the results haven't been there, but they're going to come, all right? All
Absolutely.
Right? The optimism. See, there's optimism on that side of the table. Don't lie about it.
Somehow, some way.
No, you talk about the confidence with Jeremy Kobe and for the overall team, but if Jeremy Kobe can keep it going and Miles Gallagher can keep it going, imagine that 2-receiver combo on either side of the field. I mean, that could be dangerous.
It could.
And it can open up the run game, too.
Yes, sir.
If you keep passing to the receivers and they keep gashing them for yards, you open up that run game and it just keeps gashing them for more yards.
Exactly. All right, Pointers, let's see a show out against Stout this coming weekend. Make us proud. We can't wait to see what you do.
Please.
And finally, before we talk about the Packers today, we have one more segment because there's another sport whose season is right around the corner for the pros, but yet in college it has taken over. Liam, Mr. Hockey is ready to talk to you about what's going on the ice. Tell me about it.
I'm so happy. By the way, Mr. Hockey is Gordie Howe.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, so you already done that?
I will accept Mr. Hockey, but there has to be an asterisk, and it says underneath somewhere tiny that says originally by Gordie Howe.
Can you be like Mr. Hockey, but we spell it wrong?
Yes. Okay. Definitely not trademark. Don't sue me.
Yeah.
Well, first off, men's hockey officially got underway this weekend. I actually went to the Badger hockey game this Saturday.
You had a great view from your seats too.
I did. I've had the same exact seat since I was 5 years old.
Season tickets?
Season tickets.
Crazy.
Yes, sir.
And I will. That's also why I don't care how bad they do. I'll always go to those games because go Badgers. Pretty much the only hockey team that will get me about as hyped as the Pointers hockey team does.
Yes.
They swept the series against Augustana. Again,
W.
now I will. There is a thing. Augustana, first 2 games of competition ever in the history of their college at the D1 level.
So there's an asterisk here.
There's an asterisk. However,
Sure.
most of the people on the Augustana team came from other colleges. None of them were fresh recruits. All of them basically came from other colleges, including a couple from UW Superior, from the WIAC.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was also a couple transfers. One of them was Shea Donovan, which is a Badger alumni. He graduated. He decided to take his 5th and final year of eligibility. And,
Oh, wow.
play for the Augustana Augies, I think they called them, even though their mascot is a Viking. So I don't know.
Very smart.
Very smart. But they shut out the Augies in both games. First one was 4-0, second one was 3-0. Kyle McClellan between the pipes both nights. He had 40-plus saves the weekend.
Wow.
So good on him. He's kind of taken over a big position to fill since Jared Moe left. Jared Moe was the big transfer from Minnesota. They also have 12 brand new to the program, 12 new skaters. So when Mike Hastings got hired, he basically took the entire forward core from Mankato. So
And he had a great weekend.
he did have a great weekend. He got his 300th career win and his first as a Badger.
Nice.
We love to see it.
That's a great start.
That is a great
start.
Absolutely. And my goal this year is if they go over 500, I will be so happy with
You
it.
go through a table?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
We're all holding our breath there for a moment.
Sorry to keep you on suspense, but
Yeah.
anything over 500, I will consider a victory. I think beat Ohio State. You beat Ohio State last year. You do it this year. W. I mean, just over 500 will be perfect. Some scores from around the Big Ten. Minnesota, technically speaking, they took the coward's way out. They had an exhibition game. So
Exhibition.
So technically they're
Quotations.
0-0 to start the season. So that's why they're ranked number 2 right now, which
They're frauds.
they are frauds.
They're
You
frauds.
beat Bemidji State. Now Bemidji State does have a very good team. They are also D1 program. Also, the Pointers used to play Bemidji State back in the 80s. So,
There's a little bit of history for you.
little bit of history for you, but even though they won or lost that game, it didn't count towards the record, which in my opinion is like, what are you afraid of that you don't want to?
It's malarkey.
Yeah, it is malarkey. But they only had the one game this Sunday, and they will continue against St. Thomas next week. So technically they're 0-0 to start. Notre Dame 1-1 against Clarkson. They split the series. Clarkson, way to go. Hate the Fighting Irish. Hate them. Don't like it.
Their football team's not so good this year, is it?
No,
They just lost to Louisville this past weekend, so shout out Louisville.
Shout out.
Love to see it.
Michigan State won both their games against Lake Superior State. It's a cold day in hell when the Badgers and Michigan State Spartans are doing better than Michigan and Minnesota.
Pain.
Penn State won their singular game last Saturday against LIU. They won that 3-2, so pretty close.
Yeah.
Michigan split their series against Providence, and I'm so happy about that one. Go Providence!
Yes, sir.
When it came up on the big screen at the game that Providence beat Michigan their first game 4-2. The whole
They
stadium.
projected that at the game?
Out of town scores. They put up Providence 4, Michigan 2, and the whole arena cheered for them.
I bet.
That was so beautiful.
That's awesome.
So Michigan obviously split theirs, and the Badgers obviously went 2-0. Of the whole entire Big Ten, the Badgers are the only ones that are not nationally ranked.
That's stupid considering they're 2-0.
It is a crime, and they're 2-0. And I guess it's because they went up against Augustana, who they did not consider to be a big enough opponent, which is also kind of an insult to Augustana.
But Minnesota is ranked.
Yeah.
And they had an exhibition game.
Yeah. And the only reason they're ranked is because they went to the national championship last year. That is the only
This
reason.
is
Shout out Quinnipiac.
Shout out Quinnipiac. Thank you. Mom was like, the entire time I was watching the game, she's like, but we want a Big Ten team to win because it looks better for the conference. I don't care.
up, Mom.
It is Minnesota. I
Sorry,
don't care.
Mrs. Statz. Sorry, Mrs. Statz.
Yeah, that's right. Also, I did forget about Ohio State. They also won their only game against Mercyhurst this weekend, so they're
Well,
up
hey,
now.
there you go. Hopefully soon we can get a national rankage.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully soon.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Thank you for the Big Ten roundup.
Last thing for the NHL.
Yeah, no, please, I'm going to head that way.
Okay,
Big
cool.
Ten roundup, thank you so much. I'm not going away. I'm sending it right back to Liam. For the NHL updates.
Starts tomorrow, and tomorrow is the October 10th, so whenever this thing goes live. So today, if it's Wednesday,
Yeah, today is Wednesday for
Today,
you.
so today, it goes live today. Bruins.
You guys seem a little psycho over there.
Well, here's the thing.
All right.
Bruins, best team in hockey in 82 years
Cap.
last year.
I'm kidding.
I'm not even joking. They had the best They had the most wins of all time. They had the best record of all time. They were legitimately the best hockey team in the history of the NHL last year.
First round exit.
Gosh darn it! I wanted to say that.
Oh, no, it feels good because as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, you hate the Bruins. You grew up to hate the Bruins. And seeing them lose to the Panthers, which eventually beat the Maple Leafs, but it's fine.
You know who the Panthers didn't beat? The Vegas Golden Knights. I think that they I think the Golden Knights actually won the Stanley Cup.
Hey, I want to give Liam the chance to say it too. So Liam, if you'd like.
They did lose, and last year, just to put a cap on it, Linus Ullmark, their goalie, the Bruins goalie, did actually get his first career NHL goal. It wasn't a cheapie either. He actually shot at the length of the ice. And
That's pretty
It was actually really nice.
It was actually pretty cool. First round exit, choked away a 3-game lead. So
They're a Brad Marchand goal away from cleaning out the series.
What else can we look forward to in this season here, Liam?
Well, the Panthers, obviously, as we were just talking about, are looking to have another Cinderella season. They were totally unexpected and totally unexpected. It literally came at the last possible second to get that last playoff spot. Beat the Bruins, which everybody's like, uh-oh, this isn't good, because this team was not supposed to beat the Bruins. The Bruins were supposed to destroy everybody on their way to the Cup.
Yeah.
Then they beat the Maple Leafs in very, very convincing fashion.
That was personal. What I just witnessed was personal.
It was, I think, four games. I think it was a sweep.
I don't think Brody's moved since that
I
happened.
think it was a sweep. I think it was Brody.
We got
It's fine. It's fine. It's a new season, so
Looking forward. That's the motto for this episode.
They are looking to come back. They're like, we're not going right back into a rebuild. We are here to stay as actual contenders. They've been overshadowed by Tampa Bay a lot as the team in Florida. So the fact that Tampa Bay did not advance and the Panthers did, I think that's going to draw a lot of
the Maple Leafs beat Tampa Bay to advance.
Oh, boy, the banter continues.
Anyways,
Are looking to repeat this year.
yes, they are looking to repeat this year and will, by the way.
You think they will?
Well, of course they think they will because they're my favorite team. I have to say they will.
Oh, it all comes out.
And what do you mean it all comes out?
I didn't know that about you.
You didn't know that about
No,
me?
I didn't know that
I
about
have
you.
a Golden Knights jersey hanging in my closet at home right now, and it is awesome.
Yes, sir. Well,
And-
my friend's favorite team is Seattle Kraken. So please just give me the season outlook on the Seattle Kraken, and we'll see if Chris Myers agrees with you.
Actually, not gonna be that bad. I think the Kraken last year actually had a very good year. They
had a good playoff run,
It was
too.
their second year of contention.
Right, they're very new.
Anything that was better than 500 was an immediate improvement over their first year, and they made the playoffs. So already,
Didn't they have a playoff win?
yes, they did.
Yeah.
They had a playoff win. So, I mean, anything that you guys do will be awesome. I'm so glad to see 32 teams in the league because the NHL was struggling a little bit, getting viewers. And so the fact that they actually now have 32 teams is very cool. The Golden Knights did trade away a couple of key pieces, which I'm not happy about.
I'm so sorry.
They had, I will admit, they did some trickery with the cap last year. It was bad. It was
paid off.
It did eventually pay off, but the amount of people they had like 8 people come out of the locker room fully dressed to be on the ice to lift the trophy, and the whole time it was happening, I'm like, who are any of these people? They started 5 different goaltenders in one season. By the way, Robin Leonard, his NHL career's over. It's never coming back. He's the guy that they chose to protect over Marc-Andre Fleury, so I'm not too angry about that, but, kind of. But they did trade away Riley Smith, who was an original member of that team from their first season when they also made the Stanley Cup playoffs, lost in 5 games to the Capitals.
Pain.
Yeah, I think that they are going to still be contenders. I also saw, this is a little side tangent, and stop me if we're going a little bit long, but their championship ring is huge. It is like actually that big.
I hate that. I hate those.
It's huge. It's the top of it unscrews, and the inside of
See,
it's
the
a little
Rams did
hockey.
that too.
Yeah, it's a little hockey.
I
ring.
don't like. I mean, this is
it's
just probably
huge.
like an aesthetic thing for me, but the huge championship rings just
Don't look
I mean,
good.
they're all huge at this point, but like, no, come on, do we have to go that big with it?
Well, they wanted to because their whole shtick is that they're on the strip, so they wanted to be like Las Vegas. But also, I saw them wearing it, and I'm like, that's just unwieldy. That's just so big.
Yeah.
And
Well, hey,
yeah.
thank you so much, Liam, for the NHL and Big Ten hockey roundup. Really appreciate it. But staying on the topic of Vegas, let's send it back to myself to talk about what's going on in Vegas, the Packer game. We'll see what happens. Frankie Breit, tell us how it goes. All right, everybody, here is your Packers weekly breakdown. And as you can tell, it is the next day. I'm wearing a black hoodie because that's what I'm feeling today. If anybody who watched the Packer game, if any of you watched the Packer game and now you're watching this, you know exactly why I'm wearing a hoodie today because, oh my goodness. And I know normally on this show we go with a breakdown, but today is going to be a rant because me, myself, and I here at the desk, and that's what I'm going to do for you. The Packers drop their 3rd game of the year to the Raiders in Las Vegas on Monday Night Football. They lose 17-13 in another ugly game. The Packers are now 2-3. The Raiders are 2-3. If that doesn't give you, some sadness, that's crazy. This Packers team just lost to one of the worst teams in the NFL, which is why this one hurts so much because this solidifies the fact that the Packers right now are one of the worst teams in the NFL. Which is weird, coming off a promising Week 1 showing against the Bears, really looking hot against the Falcons in Week 2, drop that one somehow, come out terribly flat in Week 3, almost lose that one, but come back and win that one. Week 4 get absolutely destroyed, and in Week 5, they look just as bad as they have the last 3 weeks. You look at Jordan Love's QBR, started at 123, and I think it was 33 last night. Which is devastating. Looking at the stats, Jordan Love, 16 of 30, 182 yards, 3 interceptions. rushing attack, A.J. Dillon finally showed up for a drive. I said earlier on the show, A.J. Dillon, prove me wrong. And he did for a drive. 34 yards and a touchdown. Without that drive, though, 32 yards and I believe 14 attempts for no touchdowns. Obviously not on him. I think not entirely on him. He had his best game of the season, but it was more or less one drive. The offensive line was obviously terrible. The play calling was, again, terrible, which is something we'll get into. But A.J. Dillon looked more like himself this week than he has. Hopefully that can continue. But still not seeing enough out of a second-round pick in that guy. And he's run like a premier back previously and hasn't been there. Patrick Taylor got signed this week to the 53-man roster. The Packers released Justin Hollins. Patrick Taylor is not the guy. I don't need to tell you that. We should all know it. Someone needs to tell Matt LaFleur. Emmanuel Wilson didn't play a snap. Aaron Jones, as you all saw, did not play yet again. That's a brutal loss for this offense, which clearly can't get anything going. It's uninspired. It's unmotivated. It's nothing is in rhythm. Nothing looks motivated. The team goes out there and plays scared. The play calling is playing scared. Weeks 1 through 4, they only passed the ball. They didn't run the ball hardly. Week 5, all they did was run the ball. And that wasn't working. There was no balance. This team, and in a coaching sense, is really struggling. Matt LaFleur is really struggling. There's no confidence in Jordan Love from the coaching staff, and that was proven last night. There was hardly any attempts downfield, and when they were, it was in desperate situations and not in 3rd and long, where we would just throw a short screen designed for Patrick Taylor. Undrafted in 2020 or 2021, not sure. That's your play call? Is a 3rd and long screen to Patrick Taylor. He can't even catch the ball. It's incomplete in another punt. It's very frustrating to watch. The receiving core, Christian Watson, 7 targets, 3 receptions, 91 yards, had the 177-yard bomb, and pretty uninspiring effort from the rest of the receiving core. Luke Musgrave had 34 yards, but Christian Watson, 7 targets, had a bunch of opportunities downfield. One of those balls was right through his hands. One of them he completely misread in the air. Looked like he could have came right back to that ball, pick it up, and go for a touchdown. But it's hard to tell. It looks underthrown on the broadcast, but that should have been catchable. And then not another underthrown ball on the final play of the game, but was the 3rd pick for Jordan Love that he didn't even go up for, really, to fight for. So he said himself, he's got to be up there. He's got to fight for that ball. But obviously not all the blame. The blame also falls on Jordan Love, who played his worst game of the year. First pick, terrible. Second pick, also forcing a throw on 2nd and long to to Christian Watson. Marcus Peters in coverage, broken up, and Robert Spillane got a 2nd pick of the night. And then all 3 of those balls were just unnecessary, forced throws that it just proves to you that Jordan Love is still inexperienced and needs some time. And it sucks to see a guy of that caliber to go out there, ball out the first couple weeks, and then come back the last 3 weeks and just look completely polar opposite. Christian Watson, again, led in receiving yards. Romeo Dobbs didn't have a great day. Jaden Reed didn't have a great day. Quiet on both ends. The defense, I don't know what to say. They had their moments, and then they had their really bad moments. Joe Barry put Preston Smith one-on-one with Devontae Adams. I don't think that was intentional, but that's what happens. And the big issue with Joe Barry is the scheme and the situational football. We've talked about it on the show for weeks now. The guy is terrible at calling defensive plays in situational. Whatever the situation is, it's bad. It's wrong. And the touchdown they gave up in the first or second quarter, they have their safeties playing off deep in the end zone at the goal line as the Raiders are set up, I think, inside the 10. It's a free pass to Jacoby Myers for a touchdown. He's not covered in the slot. The closest guy there is Lucas Van Ness, and he was on the defensive line. And then Rudy Ford is sitting at the goal line. You can't expect a guy with such little room to come down the field and make a tackle. They gave him free yardage, and they gave him a free touchdown. That's a bad situational call. And then later on, as I stated, Preston Smith on Davante Adams. That's a bad situational call. You're having a linebacker who's a pass rusher drop into zone, who the receiver in the slot is Davante Adams. The best receiver in the league is heading into the zone that Preston Smith is covering. That is a bad situational call. You know that Davante Adams plays in the slot. He plays all over the field. You had him play in the slot here in Green Bay. Like, there's no preparation. There's no planning. You had 10 days to plan, to figure this one out. You had a mini bye, essentially, to go into this game, get ready on defense, but that was still your defensive call. How we're not manning up each play against that receiving core baffled me. And what it baffled me even further was that Jair Alexander did not follow Davante Adams. Rasul Douglas was on Davante Adams more than Jair Alexander was. Jair was on Jacoby Myers all night. And granted, Rasul Douglas played a heck of a game. He played a great game. It's just those key moments that we're not prepared for, that puts Preston Smith in that position. I'm not dogging on Preston Smith either, because he had a great day himself. I think he had a tackle for a loss. He had a pass deflection at the line of scrimmage, and I believe he had a sack. Great day for him as well. Unfortunately, defense also did lose 2 more starters. Quay Walker of the knee injury and Darnell Savage out with a calf. Injuries continue to riddle this team, a team that looks very lost. And I know I sound so negative right now, but that's exactly how it feels. And I know we all expected this season to be a roller coaster. Everyone on Twitter, it's an up and down season. We can't be too upset about this. This is a young team. They're going to keep growing. But I think Andy Herman said it best, and he says, through 5 weeks, I'd rather be 0-5 of a team that is getting better each week and is competing each week than a team that is regressing as the season is going on. And that's exactly what we're seeing so far. And that is, you hate to see that. That is terrible. And they had 10 days to figure it out. Who says they're going to figure it out by their next game? They're on a bye now. How are they going to figure it out in 14 days, 4 more days that they're probably going to take off anyway because it's a bye? They have the same amount of time as this past week. And they're going to come in, and who knows if they're going to be ready. The play calling needs to be balanced going forward. They need to trust Jordan Love to throw that ball down the field because, as we've seen, he can do it, and these young receivers can get open. The offensive line needs to step up. We know that. But it's just nothing is firing on all cylinders. It looks like every cylinder in this cog is not working. It's not turning. It's falling off. It's a problem. And I know people are saying that people probably say that I'm overreacting, but when you lose a game such as this, you start to get worried. This reminds you of 2022. Okay start, and then the Giants game happened, and we were up and down, sucking the rest of the way. I mean, this team's got important games coming up. You've got the Chiefs. You've got the Lions again. These are high-caliber teams that you cannot beat like this. There are above-average teams that we can't beat. You're going to tell me we're going to beat the Vikings, who have a stellar offense. I know they just lost Jay Jettis, so that's going to be a big loss for them, but they still got Kirk Cousins, who's throwing dimes week in, week out. We've got the Buccaneers, who are rolling. We've got the Chargers. We've got the Steelers, who are somehow winning games with their stellar defense. I don't think that the Packers right now can go into those games and chalk that up to a win. I went through the season myself last night after this loss and said, okay, we are a 9-8 ceiling right now, and we have a 5-12 floor. And the floor looks more likely than the ceiling right now. And I understand, again, this is very negative, but coming off 10 days, waiting for Packer football, as a fan, as an enthusiast, to see that effort, and then I have to sit on that now for 2 weeks. We've got 2 weeks until our next game. So that's another 14 days of sitting on 3 back-to-back games of poor football. They had 1 good quarter in the last 3 games. Simple as that. You know? And it sucks that Aaron Jones seems to mean this much to this offense. Without that guy, this offense isn't running, which should not be the case. This is Matt LaFleur's offense now. Aaron Rodgers is out of here. The whole story beyond that is that Matt LaFleur can now call his offense, and it's not working. It is not at all working. Aaron Jones, obviously, great player. He's stellar. And when he's around, they don't even run it to him. They don't even give him the ball. And that was a problem in the Bears game, too, when he had 2 touchdowns. Obviously, it's very frustrating. I know I don't mean to come on here and be a negative light on this episode of SportsPoint, but I think a lot of us are feeling this way right now. And it might be important that we get this off our chest. I'm just saying that. Jimmy Garoppolo, looking at more stats here, 208 yards, touchdown and a pick. Rudy Ford had another interception. I believe he's probably one of the highest rated players on the defense right now. Had a rough first 2 weeks, but he's looking really good recently. So it's a great pickup from Brian Gutekunst. Defense gave up 69 yards rushing and a touchdown, and receiving was okay. Jacoby Myers pretty much was the only issue. Devontae Adams had a really quiet game, which as a Packers fan, I'm very happy about because I didn't want to see him torch us absolutely. Miss the guy, love the guy, still a class act. All love, all respect to that man. So I don't know. Do changes need to be made? Yes, I do think so. And I think the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator need to go. I don't think Brian Gutekunst needs to go. A lot of people have been Brian Gutekunst haters for years, but I think you look at the last 2 drafts and how he's been able to find talent late rounds and how the early round picks have turned out in the last couple of years in 2022 and 2023. I think the guy is really finding his mojo as a general manager who drafts good players. So not worried on that front. Defensive coordinator is a big issue, and I think the players have all the talent in the world, and obviously they take some of the blame, but as I've stated, the scheme is not there. We got to get something new in the building, and I don't think this happens this year, but it has to change after this year. And I don't think Adam Stenavich is the guy on offense, because this is back-to-back seasons with uninspired offenses that have struggled to move the ball, that have struggled to stay on the field, and they're doing no favors for the defense. This team is not complementing each other in either way. But overall changes I want to see by the time we are playing the Broncos in 2 weeks. This has to be a win. I think you have to bring Yosh Nijman onto the field in favor of Rasheed Walker. Rasheed Walker has been consistently very poor on PFF, and that's more than just the stats. That is physically watching the game and seeing him not perform well. And I think we obviously need to get healthy. Aaron Jones needs to be on the field and help this offense to his capabilities. Obviously can't run through him, but he's a huge superstar that's going to be an X factor as we go forward. And then defensively, we also got to get healthy. Jair Alexander's playing hurt. We have both our starting linebackers out, and we just lost a starting safety in Darnell Savage. Yeah. We need to see some changes. We need to do a lot of self-scouting, a lot of critical self-scouting. And, you know, the coaching staff is kind of the biggest question mark, because if Matt LaFleur doesn't call plays, who calls plays? I don't think Adam Stenavich should be calling plays, and I don't trust anybody else in that room other than Jason Vrabel to possibly call plays. And he's a wide receiver coach. So, again, where does he fit in that equation? I don't know. But yeah, I think, guys, that's going to be it for this little Packers rant. I know we try to stay optimistic on this show, but this is just so frustrating, and I needed to talk about it. So I wanted to make sure we got a Packers segment in here. And let me know your comments down below in the comments section. See if you agree or disagree with us. We want to hear you. We want to hear your hot takes. We want to hear your complaints about the Packers, because we're probably right there with you on some of them. So, yeah, thank you so much for checking in on this one. We'll break down the Broncos game on next week's episode before that weekend of football in Week 7. So I'm going to send it back to myself for the closing of this show. And, Frankie, take it away. And with that, good luck to all the Pointers campus sports teams this week. Looking forward to the outcomes. Looking forward to the homecoming game in a few weeks versus River Falls. Another SportsPoint live stream will take place there. I'll be on commentary. Thanks so much to everyone watching this episode. We really appreciate it, your continued support. We're looking forward to more work coming your way this semester. Thank you so much to our crew, Keaton, Waala, our tech producer, Aminee, Hoff, our floor manager, and my awesome co-host, Liam Statz, Brody Kupsky. Thanks so much for being here. Stay tuned for more SportsPoint, and from all of us, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.